that's fun. I've created a game worth playing. But with those pressures, with that, oh, I'm not there yet, or I have to cross over. It has to happen now, so everybody can see it that needs to see it. Like, that's just unnecessary. That's just unnecessary, and that doesn't add anything good to my creative process. And with the work that I do, like, I have to be able to remain in that creative area. Hey, you feel that?
You are now tuned into You Feel That with Bryce the Third.
Yo, and welcome to another episode of You Feel That with Bryce the Third, the premier podcast for those looking to grow, exceed, and excel in the world as a highly sensitive person, the emotionally inclined, people who feel deeply. This is a space for us. Of course, I'm your host, Bryce the Third, recording artist, mentor, and emotional wellness mentor. And today we're going to talk a little bit about the process of building something important to you that aligns with your values, but also having fun along the way. That's what the emphasis is going to be on today. Having fun in the midst of the process of building these things that are important to us. And this includes things like entrepreneurial endeavors, as well as more subtle things like the life that we want to build emotionally. Like, doing some of this emotional work that we talk about on this show can feel as if like, oh, it's a lot. Like, there's a lot to unpack. There's a lot of things that I've experienced in my life, and this is heavy and is not enjoyable. But let me tell you, living a life that's aligned with what it is that I want to make happen, living a life that is aligned with the emotional state that I desire for my life, living a life that is aligned with my value set and where it is that I want to go as a person, fun as hell. I remember very early on when I first got the show started, one of my friends that I sent this to, he had listened to it and he was like, yo, I thought it was going to be like super serious, but like I laughed like 4 or 5 times. And that's the whole point. Like, we got to have fun while doing this. Keeping a light heart helps us to carry a heavy load. The main reason for this podcast is to help for you, the emotionally inclined person, to have an increased quality of life. In all aspects of life. This could be entrepreneurial, this can be emotional, this can be relational. Is that the word? Like, reflecting in your relationships. Most importantly, the relationship with yourself. Like, I'm here to put this work that I've done on myself, as well as the work that I continue to do on myself, on a public platform and share it with you all so that you all can shortcut the process of this increased quality of life and be able to get to the life that you desire, maybe quicker than I was able to, like, because I've had to kind of get it out the mud and search out these resources. Now I'm putting these resources at your feet that you can choose to use if you choose to use them. But most important is finding fulfillment and enjoyment in the process of it. There's nowhere to go. There's nowhere to go but here. So if we feel like, oh, I got to get there, or I gotta be more peaceful, or I got to be more content in life, and I will not be satisfied until I get there. You see the paradox there? You see the paradox there? I need to be more content, but I won't be satisfied until I get there. Such is the mind, though. The mind wants us to have an end goal, and the end goal is what's going to make us happy. And today's episode is kind of to zone in on that's never the case. What we are right now, what we are experiencing right now, will continue to follow us into future iterations of our life. So if I'm satisfied now, I'll be satisfied later. But if I'm dissatisfied now and something later will help me to be satisfied, like, that won't help. That won't help. No matter where I go, there'll always be somewhere else to go. So we're going to talk a little bit about my personal experience. We're going to talk a little bit about the importance of being happy now. And we also going to talk about some tools that help us to come into this present moment and enjoy it. But first, a word from our sponsor, me. So before we get into it, this episode is brought to you by my Patreon, Bryce the Third. Look at this. Ooh, Bryce the Third. Ooh. I get it. You're mad emotional. There's not really a supportive place to be yourself, your emotional self. You want to learn how to harness these emotions and use them for good. You no longer want to be debilitated by these heavy emotions, but you want to be empowered by the ways that you feel deeply. You want to dig into more tools, more resources, and overall just take your life to the next level. Well, let me tell you, my friend, you are doing yourself a service by even listening to this podcast, because you are exactly who I made this podcast for. And if you want to help take this podcast to the next level, because I'm always growing and I'd rather grow with friends, hop on over to my Patreon. There's 3 tiers that you could pledge a monthly subscription to. Tier 1 is to show us some monthly love and help us take this thing to the next level perpetually. With Tier 2, you get access to a weekly text group that, trust me, you want to be a part of. With weekly motivation, reminders to give yourself compassion at just the right time, and updates on the newest products before anybody else gets their hands on them. And in Tier 3, not only do you get access to the Tier 2 text group, but you get a special shout out at the end of every episode of You Feel That. So basically, you become a damn celebrity. However you decide to show up is greatly appreciated, and I'm aiming to give you 3 times the value of whatever it is that you put in. Because you know the universe helps those who helps themselves. You can find a link to the Patreon page in the show description of whatever you're listening to your podcast on. And if you're on YouTube, it's down there in the description. Now let's get to the show. So I want to take this second to talk a little bit about the mindset of which I come from. And I think it's important to put myself on the table, and we can use me as the experiment in the petri dish, because it allows for us to see how much growth is capable in our lives because of the polarity of where it is that I come from and where it is that I am now. I find it mad important to be as transparent as possible because I've been with me the whole time, and there's been so many different iterations of myself that I know for a fact that human change and growth is possible. Nobody is too far gone for redemption, and nobody is exempt from change if they desire it. And then I do a lot of study around like neuroplasticities and like intentional things we can do to switch up our habitual patterns and change into a different person. And let me tell you, Google string theory, but that's neither here nor there. There's a lot of ways that you yourself, somebody who may think, oh, I can't never change, or oh, I got these deeply rooted habits, can turn into a different person. So that's why I want to kind of like start out with where it is that I come from. So in relation to having fun along the way, like I have been and can get right back to, if not in practice, in a place where life is pressure and just not fun. My frame of reference is poverty. My frame of reference is lack. My frame of reference is scarcity mindset. And the environments that I come from, and in some of the friendships that I used to have as a kid, and some of the mindsets that I was in as a kid, we didn't really have a lot around us. I'm from Inkster, Michigan. It's a little suburb outside of Detroit, Michigan, and it's mainly black. And Henry Ford made this city because a lot of the blacks were coming up from the South for the Great Migration, because Henry Ford had created the $5 workday. And in creating the $5 workday, he was like, I don't give a shit if you black or white, whatever you look like, as long as you can get here, I'm gonna pay you $5. So people from down south that had been dealing with the segregated South and slavery, it was like, oh shit, we got to get some of that Motor City money. So they made the migration, the Great Migration, up north and like to New York and stuff like that. So when they got here, there was no place for them to go. So the city of Inkster was one of those cities that was created for black people to be able to settle in, to be able to work at these automotive plants. Funny enough, the way that development continued to happen. So also Dearborn Heights is like one of the biggest population of like Arabics and Chaldeans outside of where it is that they come from. And I don't know how they be getting this bread. Maybe it's like a different culture of economics. I know they support each other a lot, and there's a lot of money in Dearborn. So I grew up Cherry Hill. Across Cherry Hill, you got these mansions, G-Wagons, you looking at bread all day. But then back across on my side of Cherry Hill, you got people breaking in cribs doing all type of broke shit for real. We eat McDonald's and ramen noodles. My mama got me a pack of blacks and a pair of socks one year for Christmas, and I was happy about it. I mean, and I still to this day, I very much appreciate the sentiment, because I smoke Black and Milds. I don't anymore. I may look like I smoke Black and Milds, but that's not the case. But yeah, so coming from this being the reference point where it's like we don't necessarily have access to what it is that we want, and we're talking amongst each other like we got to get money. Money is the most important thing. We making music, and what the music is centered around is, I got to get this money. I got to get this money. And if I look back in hindsight, like all that energy was repelling money away from me. And I that's neither here nor there. I don't want to go on a tangent. But with this being my reference point where I'm coming from now, within the past 8 years, where I've gotten intentional about my life and intentional about the things that I want to create in the business and entrepreneurship, and becoming a success in my own mind and spirit aligned with my value direction, I could put all these pressures on my success. So all those, I got to retire my moms, and I got to be successful before this earth loses my grandparents, who I want to see me succeed and who I want to benefit from my success. The whole breaking generational curses, first millionaire in the family energy, all that I'm gonna beat the odds energy. They're great sentiments, and they have been motivators in the past, but like recently in my spiritual energy, they add a lot of fucking pressure on me. A lot of unnecessary pressure. And as a matter of fact, like I've learned, I just text my guy that the pressure doesn't exist. The pressure doesn't exist. Like the pressure is a creation of my own mind. And if I create it, then obviously I can dissolve it as well. But that pressure does not contribute to enjoying the process. Like there's this, I'm right on the precipice. It's going to crack. It's going to happen. I'm right there. But so much of that being right there, like that ends up getting exhausting, because it's like, damn, but I'm not there yet. Like, I'm not to the point to where I could pull up to a restaurant with my daughter and not have to check my app to see how much money I got in my account. I just got off the phone with Dearborn Lofts in West Dearborn. I'm looking for a new place to live. I don't like the energy of where I'm living at. It's not that I don't like the energy. It's that the energy is more and more not aligning with where it is that I see myself as being. So I'm being pushed to look for something different, something with more inspiration. And so Dearborn, the place where I'm talking about, where, you know, all these G-Wagons are and these Porsches and these Maseratis and stuff like that, they have a loft there, and it's called West Dearborn Lofts. And they had a 1-bedroom that was available, but I need a 2-bedroom because I'm a full-time father. And I inquired, and I called my man. He called me back, and he was asking how much I made. I told him how much I made, and he asked me what I do. I told him what it is that I do, entrepreneurial and as in a salary position. He asked me how much I made. I told him how much I made, and bro was just like, that ain't gonna work. Bro just like said that shit like 3 or 4 or 5 times. Like, that ain't gonna work. That's not gonna work. That's not gonna work. And then he told me what the minimum requirement is for the income monthly and how I needed to pass this approval process before I could even look at the place. And mind you, the pictures look very inspiring. Like, I will be excited to live in a place like that. Like, that's what I'm looking for. My guy Sean stays in Phoenix, Arizona at these places called the Optima, and that's what kind of got me. I want that type of inspirational energy. I want that environment that continues to embrace my creativity and pull the most out of me. And in an energy of like, damn, I'm not there yet. Damn, when is it going to be there? Damn, when am I going to cross over? Like, a phone call like that could be very discouraging. Like, damn, I'm not there yet. Like, damn, I'm putting in all this work and I'm not even there yet. But in the way that I've oriented myself to see the circumstance, like, I seen it, it was encouraging and it was motivating. As a matter of fact, like, I needed to make that inquiry. I needed to make that call so I could have a reference point for what it is that I'll need to be able to make that happen. I could have not even called. I could have not even inquired. I could have not even believed that I could live in a place like that. That's the fucking fun part for me. So I've been able to like switch up my orientation and it lightens the load of the experience. This is an experience that would have beat my ass in a time before. Like, if I was my 16-year-old self, like, who used to trip about not being able to get a job at McDonald's in Fairlane and not having money for the bus, that shit would have discouraged me. I would have cried. I would have put it all down and just walked away. But with this being a part of my morning today, like, I'm excited. Like, oh, now I know, like, this is how much you need to be making to be able to even talk to these guys. So I need to, like, now I have a reference point. Now I can create this in my own life. That's fun. I've created a game worth playing. But with those pressures, with that, oh, I'm not there yet, or oh, like I have to cross over. Or it has to happen now, so everybody can see it that needs to see it. Like, that's just unnecessary. That's just unnecessary, and that doesn't add anything good to my creative process. And with the work that I do, like, I have to be able to remain in that creative area. And speaking of creative area, like, I can put pressure on myself to do the next thing, like banging things out and trying to get somewhere. Like, where the fuck am I going? Where am I going? Like, that's once again the conversation about like, oh, it's going to happen, or oh, when I get there, I'll be happy. But it's like, when I get there, wherever there is, like, I'll still be who I am today. So if my energy today is non-appreciative, in a scarcity mindset, feeling like something over there will complete me or satisfy me, when I get over there, I will still have that energy of needing something over there to complete me and satisfy me. So whenever I get there, like, I'll need something else. There'll be somewhere else to go. There'll be something else to do, and I will not be satisfied. Like Abraham Hicks says, you never get it done. And these mindset shifts are important. I read somewhere that a miracle is not people, places, and things coming in from outside at the perfect time, but more of a shift of our perception to see what is already there, a reframing of our circumstances that allows for us to see things in a miraculous way. And that is what will prevent me from burning the fuck out. Because if I don't practice this mindset shift, then a burnout and a breakdown is imminent. It's imminent. It's going to happen. If I have all this pressure on my shoulders and I feel like I'll never make it, and I feel like there's something over there that I need to get to, but when I get over there, there's something else to get to, and it just becomes this thing where it's just like, nah, this like I'm gonna break down. So that's where I've been. That's what I've experienced. That's where I come from. That's some of the things that I'm kind of like. And you're talking about, like I was talking about, like overcoming the odds. There's a lot of experience that I've had that if I identify with that experience, I am, a high school dropout. I am a teen father. I am a person in recovery from alcoholism and substance abuse. Like there's all these things statistically that say I'm not supposed to be going to where it is that I'm going to, or I'm not even supposed to be who it is that I am, or what it is that I am, or in the energy that I'm involved with. So kind of having that energy of like, oh, I gotta continue to break these things. Like it was something that I intentionally did just for the fact of doing that. Like I'm not where I'm at because I wanted to prove people wrong, or that told me that because I was a teen father, like I wouldn't be shit. Like I'm not where I'm at because I wanted to prove everybody in Dearborn that I'll one day drive a G-Wagon, or when I pull up in my Tesla in Dearborn, like, look at me, this is I did this in spite of you. Like I'm not where I'm at spiritually because of what it is that people told me I couldn't be or couldn't have. Like I'm where I'm at spiritually because of my internal mechanisms and my understanding of my values, what it is that I desire out of life, what it is that I found out I didn't want anymore, and what it is that I found out that I want to make happen in my life. And then I started to do the work within myself to align me with the work outside of myself that will pull me in the direction of where it is that I desire to go. This is intrinsic. This is a process of figuring out what's going on inside and aligning myself in a way that allows for me to find fulfillment in whatever the experience is. So I think I've already kind of like cracked a little bit into some of my personal process at reframing the circumstance in a way that empowers me to move forward and empowers me to carry the load of not necessarily being where it is exactly that I want to be yet, but being able to enjoy the process in the process. Let's get into some more specific reasons as to why it's important to be happy and have fun now. Let's talk about Scarface. That's right. Say hello to my little friend. When I was growing up, this was like my favorite movie, as it was any 15-year-old black kid from the hood. You see this guy coming from nothing, and then he goes, and then he just takes everything, and now he has everything. He is surrounded by all the luxurious lushness, and it comes strictly off of the fact that he has the balls to go and take what he wants. So what I did recently, maybe like within the past, maybe I think it was this year, I watched it with my son, because my son is the age, my son is 15, he's going on 16, and he's the age where I can kind of like take some of the cool shit that I liked as a kid and be able to watch it with him, experience it with him. So we turned on Scarface and we watched it. And I'm watching it with the mentality and the spirit state of the person that you've come to know, like the host of this show. And it was a whole entirely different movie when I seen it. The whole time, Tony Montana is just fucking mad. He's just mad at everybody, and he's just always pissed off, and he's just fucking mad. He's not enjoying it. He's got a bubble bath, and it's bigger than my living room, and he has a TV where he can watch TV in the bubble bath, but he's fucking mad in it. Like, how are you mad in this big ass bubble bath, bro? Like, if I have like a medium sized bubble bath, I went to the Four Seasons and I took a bubble bath in there, and there's no way I can be mad. How can you be mad in the bubble bath, bro? Tony Montana is just fucking mad throughout the whole movie, all the way to the end, to where if you haven't seen Scarface at this point of your life, like, I'm sorry, but spoiler alert, till he gets killed. So from the very beginning to the very end, it's just anger, mad, frustration, not being able to enjoy the process, and then you die. And I'm watching it with like this new spiritual inclination that I've developed as an adult, and I'm like, this is such a sad movie. He ends up killing his best friend, like, his sister gets killed because of, like, it's just like nothing good came of anything in that movie. Even though he got everything that he was looking to get, like, he just was never satisfied. So this is the moral of this podcast episode. Like, don't be Tony Montana. Period. If I think about it, I got an early lesson early on from 12 Steps. I'm a member of Alcoholics Anonymous, and one of the things you would hear around the tables is, don't be a dry drunk. Like, so what if you're 12 years sober? If you don't have an increased quality of life, if you're not living a life that's worth living, like, why be sober? And semantics, right? Like, don't take these words, and because sometimes people will take words and make it mean what they want it to make mean to fit their agenda. I'm not saying that I'd rather you be drunk. I'd rather you be sober if that's what you seek to do. But there's a lot of people that will just quit the drugs or the alcohol, but still be a douchebag and still be an asshole or still be on a path a hungry ghost path where it's like nothing I do is fulfilling me, and I'm using people, places, and things as a way to fulfill me, but I cannot find fulfillment and I am not happy. That was one of the earliest lessons I learned about being present in the moment and enjoying the process. Putting in the work spiritually to really be able to enjoy not only where it is that we're headed, but also the steps that we're taking to get there. Like, imagine if Tony Montana was able to stop in that bubble bath and like really just like, you fucking cockroaches, you. I don't know what, man. This is actually a nice bubble bath. There's nothing I should be mad at right now. What the fuck I ain't even mad about? I got everything I could ever want. I got the boss's girl. I got this cigar. I got this bubble bath. There's nothing else I need in life. But we all know that's not what happened. Don't be Tony Montana. So definitely kind of touched on, and I'm pretty sure you were able to pull out. Hopefully you could hear some of the ways that I've been able to reframe my circumstances in order to empower me to carry a heavier load because I'm actually having fun. And also, like, if you think about it, like, so there's things like I'm a content creator, and there's been times where I've made a post on Instagram or I've made a post on whatever your social media site is, and I think it's going to go crazy. And then I log back in and maybe like 2 people liked it and it got like 3 views. And it's like, oh, this is fucking sucked. Oh my God. Like, I show up every day. I've been doing this shit since 2017 and blah, 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 blah. And I had to like stop myself and remind myself, bro, like, you are showing up. Like, you choose to show up. Why are you even here? Why are you even doing this? Are you having fun? Are you enjoying yourself? What are you looking to do? And I think like a big part of figuring out how to tap into the enjoyment of the moment is having, like I've spoken about multiple times throughout this episode, a direct value set. What is it that I want to do here? So when things happen, like I make that phone call and then I get the response, and then my guy tells me like, this is how much you need to make. None of this shit you saying is going to work for you right now in this circumstance. I don't get discouraged and want to throw in the towel, but it's like, oh, like this is the game that I want to move there. I'm going to move there. I'm going to have a space that adds to my creativity. So how can I pivot and make this work for me? That's the fun, because it's like, ooh, like I'm excited. Like I like the way my mind works in this circumstance, because I have set values that are like my compass that guide me in the direction that I need to go in to live a life that's fulfilled. And the process of aligning towards those values and stepping towards those values is a action of fulfillment. So when it came to like social media, like there's been times where I've been discouraged and wanted to stop. I've been posting every day on social media for 4 or 5 years. Posting content to help empower you in your emotions and in your entrepreneurship. There's been multiple iterations of me just showing up and what it is that I'll talk about and contribute, but I always have wanted to add something like within the past. I've been doing this since 2017. So it's like, but I'm still a baby. And I have these values that I want to achieve when it comes to my business. And like slowly but surely, like what used to just be me showing up on social media and posting something, like this is slowly but surely turning into a business. There's different things that have branched off, and there's different aspects of my media company that now exist. And it wouldn't have existed had I not had taken that first step and began posting to begin with. And it's usually in those moments where things aren't going exactly how I want them to go that allows me to pivot and align myself in a way that creates what it is that I want to make happen. So these frustrations no longer are things that discourage me and disempower me. Now they're the things that point me closer to the direction of what it is that I want to make happen in my life. So now they empower me. How do we do this? How do we set up the map? How do we create a game worth playing? Well, first we got to get intentional and conscious about the game that we're playing, especially when it comes to success. A lot of us like have this blanket definition of success because of what we've seen somebody else consider to be success. So we're out just chasing whatever, and we don't necessarily have a definition of what we consider to be successful. For me, I want to be a respected creator. Not respect in a way to where it's like, oh, I bow to that guy or I put that guy on a pedestal, but respect it in a way to where it's like, oh, when you speak my name, oh, yeah, I got something from him. Oh, yeah, he adds value. Oh, yeah, he put something on the floor that I'm able to use and apply to my own life. Oh, yeah, he has helped me to be empowered in my own life. That's what I mean by respected. And also, I mean that people throw their money at me because they know however much money they throw at me, I'm going to deliver 3 times more value than that. That's what respected is. I want to be able to feed my family with my creative endeavors, which branches off of that. Zig Ziglar has a saying, you can have anything in life that you want if you help enough people get what it is in life that they want. And I'm on this mission to create things for these communities that exist. In this season of my life, it is the emotionally inclined, those who feel deep feelings. And I felt deep feelings since I was a kid. So I'm a part of the community. Like, I'm here to just add value. And next time you talk to me, this goal might be a little bit more defined. This value set might be more defined because I'm playing the game of creating the life that aligns with this value set. As I take action, I get more feedback that allows me to pivot and alter in a way that gets me closer to what it is that I want to exist. And in that, it's fucking fun. It's like playing basketball. When you play basketball and you get in the zone and it's like, okay, I'm playing this game to win. Damn, I shot that shot and I missed. Like, I don't just throw the ball in the middle of the court. Fuck y'all, I'm going home. Like, okay, how can I alter the way that I shoot? How can I more likely get this ball in the hole? Like, where do I need to shoot from? Like, what is my position that I need to play and I need to study? You dedicate yourself to your values. Once you dedicate yourself to your values, nothing in life is going to happen that's going to discourage or disempower you. Everything in life that happens, we'll be able to use it and flip it on its head and turn it into something that puts a battery in our back. So measurable goals within a value set that we've defined by looking at ourselves internally that allow us to track and celebrate our progress, as well as pivot in the midst of the action that we're taking if something doesn't go aligned with what it is that we've defined. And having a continuous process of allowing for that definition to flesh itself out in the midst of the process. Oh, if we was on Good Talk Tuesdays, I'd be like, drop a number 5, drop 5s in the comments right now, because I really feel like this is something I needed to hear at one point in time in my life. Shit, it's something I need to hear today. I need to hear myself say that. And while we're here for a second, I just wanted like this realization that I had the other day. I really feel like I'm a channel. I feel like I'm a channel for something bigger than me. Because a lot of times, like, I'll look back on something that I created in hindsight, and I'll hear something I said, and it's like, oh, that's what I meant. That's what I meant. They say you don't never really know something until you can teach it. Anyways, moving forward. So another tool for enjoying the process is letting go of having to know the how of things. Like, how it's going to get done. Like, setting the what, which is our value set. Figuring out what it is that I want. I want to be a respected creator, and this is what respect as a creator looks like to me. And then letting the how be shown to us. Taking action the best way that we know how. We can only do what's right in front of us. So for me, the best way that I can create today is to sit down and do an episode of my podcast, a couple of episodes of my podcast. I'm locked in today. And, edit them and put them out and deliver as much value as I can in my content. And then that's really all I could do in this moment. And then taking that action, what ends up happening is we build momentum because we take more action because that action begets this action and this action begets that action. The next thing you know, you're getting these phone calls, you're getting a DM, you're getting people reaching out, you're getting people, and that is going to lead to ideation around the next step. But if we're really focused on how it's going to happen, we set our what, like this is what I want to make happen. But then we sit down and every piece of the how has to be exactly how we see it. Like that's not fucking fun. That's not fucking fun because I can guarantee 75% of what happens ain't going to be what you expected was going to happen. I can tell you this right now. All this for me started as rap. I started as just a rapper. I make music now. I make music and I do it because it's fun and because I love to do it and I'm great at it. Matter of fact, I just dropped a single. It's called Your Fault. Check it out. Bryce the Third on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, all that. But now what I found my business is empowering people. I had no idea I'd even get here. I didn't know that I loved communication so much. I didn't know that I loved seeing in your eyes that something clicked and knowing that you're going to go home and apply it in your own life and that it's going to improve your life. I didn't know the fulfillment that I would get from that until I started doing shows. Until I started music and I would go to these shows and I would notice that the people that were performing here, like it just be all type of shit, like I'll kill you, I'll take your girl, and I would feel like drained physically, mentally, spiritually, all that. And I vowed to myself, like every show I ever do, like when I go in here, if somebody going through something, has been going through something for the past week, when they leave out of here, they're going to feel like they can keep going. I'm going to give them energy. They're not going to feel physically drained. They're going to feel physically invigorated. And that's what I'm going to do as an artist. When I come in and do my shows, that is my goal. And what that turned into was like between songs, I would start doing shit like this. I would fill the room out, see how the room was feeling. And now if you come to my shows, like it'll be a mix of this. It'll be a mix of You Feel That with Bryce the Third, and it'll be a mix of Bryce the Third, Deeper Than Luck, Bryce the Third, Internal Revenue, Bryce the Third, the rapper. Like it'll be a mix of the two. And that's something only I can do. But I didn't even know that these things existed, and I wouldn't have gotten the viewpoint or the picture of this thing until I started to take the action. If I sat down and was like, okay, this is what I want. I want to be a rapper, and I want to be the best rapper in the world. Like, just no reference point, like except for like Jay-Z, like, or whatever, right? And I want to be the best lyricist and the best of the best of the best. Like, really, and like the best is relative anyway. But if I would have did that and it was like, this is how it's going to happen. I'm going to get signed. I'm going to go on tour for this. I'm going to work with these artists. I'm going to do like, it's good to kind of vision board and have like a loose, like, okay, these are things that would let me know that I would be successful if they were to happen. But also like to have this how and like really be sticking to the how. And if the exact how doesn't work, like I'm not successful, that's not fucking fun. And that's mad pressure. Let go of that shit. Because I guarantee you what's going to happen is better and bigger than anything that you could ever imagine. Just get into the process and have fun in the fucking process. A couple more tools for being able to tap into the now, which allows for us to appreciate the now. Gratitude lists. Finding something to appreciate in the now. There's always something. If you woke up today and if you can see this podcast, if you're on YouTube, or if you can hear this podcast, if you're on Apple Podcasts or whatever you're on, you have sight and hearing. There's people that cannot hear. There's people that cannot see. There's people that are not in their right mind to be able to understand the things that are going on in this podcast. There are people that are in their right mind, but are not susceptible to receive these things because this is not the place that they're in their lives. For you to even be able to hear these words in this podcast in a way that resonates with your spirit says a lot about where you are in your process of growth. That's something to be appreciative of. That's something to appreciate right now in this moment. You are fucking winning. You are a GOAT. You are a beautiful person looking to carve out their desired experience in this world. That has to feel like fucking sprinkles and magic going through your skin when you really focus on the fact that this is the life you live. So all that, I'm tight because I'm not exactly where I want to be right now. Look who you are now. You are where you want to be right now. And this is some of the things that I've been kind of like practicing in my life. Instead of like saying, when I get rich or when I am rich. Somebody just hit me today and was like, how much it costs. I hit them back. And this is a person I can do this with. I am aware that, you don't say certain things to certain, like discernment, right? But he was like, how much it costs? I'm like, I don't ask that. I'm rich. I don't ask that question. I'm rich. Like the fact that yesterday I had to look at my app to see how much money I had in my app before I made a purchase would insinuate that, bro, you're not. But actually I am. And when it's the case where I don't have to look at that app, I'll still be. But I have to be it first. I have to be it and feel like that's the case first for it to be something that manifests. Because if I don't feel rich now, when I have the money, I'm going to still feel like I'm broke. I'm going to still be out here penny pinching and how much does it cost and what. Like, boy, you got $100,000 in your bank account. And that's just your spend account. Like, you ask how much it costs. It's an ice cream cone. It's $2, bro. Just, if I really appreciate it, I spend the money on it. If I really appreciate it, I spend the money on it. And what's crazy is I always have the money. I'm always supported. So, finding something to appreciate, and there is a lot when you look. And the whole thing about gratitude is once you find something that you're grateful for, you will find more things to be grateful for. And as you find more things to be grateful for and you live in that energy of gratitude, you create an environment for more things to be grateful for to come to you. On the flip side, where it's like, I'm sick of this, I'm throwing in the towel, I'm right there, but I'm not there yet, I'm right there, but I'm not there yet. Like that attracts more opportunity for you to be right there, but not there yet, and to be frustrated and stuck in a process of non-appreciation. Find something to be appreciative of and to be grateful for. And that is just going to snowball into more things to be grateful for. I promise you. And a few more things. I'm trying to keep these episodes concise. I want you to be able to tap in and then, go on about the rest of your day, but really have like an energetic experience here on You Feel That. The usual suspects. If we think about what it is that I talk about on the show all the time, mindfulness, journaling, intentional relationship building. Let's talk about it. Mindfulness. To be here in this moment, to not be over there in an unforeseeable future, or to not be back there in an unchangeable past, but to be here in this moment, smelling the smells, seeing the sights, hearing the sounds, bringing myself into this moment, practicing on a daily basis to be intentional about the process that I use to bring me in this moment. and be here. Allows for me to have more fun while I'm here. Because I'm not in what could happen. There's no anxiety about what could happen. I'm not in what did happen. There's no depression about what did happen that I can't change. But I'm here in this moment right now, living this life aligned with what it is that I want to create. Mindfulness, a beautiful thing. Journaling allows for us to like really define and get to know these values that we talked about earlier that we're setting for ourselves. Like, what is it that I want? Like, this thing happened and I felt these emotions about it. I felt this way about it. Why is that? Like, why did I feel frustrated that I'm not getting as many views on the content that I'm creating? What is important to me? Oh, this is what's important to me. Well, in order for this to be something that happens, then I need for these views to be up. So then it lightens the load where it's like, okay, I got a little bit more studying to do. I got to figure out how to market my stuff in a way that gets it to more eyes and more ears, because this is important to the value set that I've set for myself. Like that trail of, okay, this is what I need to do, to that trail of being able to play the game. Like, you don't even know what game you're playing if you don't know what game you're playing. If you're not working through the game, you don't even know. So it's just, you just taking L's. You just taking an L. This is a loss. Oh man, this sucked. Like, I did this video and it got like 2 views. Oh, that sucks. But if you're looking to create something specific and you come hand in hand with the specificity of what it is that you're creating, when I got 7, 8, 9, 10 views on something, oh, that's 10 more views than none. How can I turn that 10 into 20? How can I turn that 20 into 40? Because this is my value set. So then, journaling allows for us to kind of like work through the emotions around it all too. Because this is, you feel that, for the emotionally inclined. So what are the emotions that I'm feeling? Am I feeling excited when this happens? Am I feeling frustrated when this happens? Am I feeling sad when this happens? Does this make me want to cry? I was listening to the Social Proof podcast and Donnie Wiggins was asked the question, like, has anything entrepreneurial ever made you cry? And she was like, nah, like not with my business. I'm not gonna lie to you. I've cried over my business. Like, this is not where I wanted to be yet. Like, I had to go through that process. And that allows me to be living in the energy that I'm living in right now. Because there's really blood, sweat, and tears into all this shit. There's blood, sweat, and tears to be able to offer you these tools. Like, these tools cost me. And they continue to cost me. And I continue to gain them and I continue to pass them along. Because that is my fucking value set. And that's what I'm here to do. But I wouldn't be buddies with it. I wouldn't be friends with it if it wasn't for journaling. That continuous check-in with myself. Because like what we'll do is we'll set the goal, or we'll set the value, or we'll set, this is what I want life to be, and then we'll just move forward and we never check back in with it, and then we have a mental breakdown. And what I've heard recently is that a mental breakdown, it occurs because of lack of clarity, but that lack of clarity comes because I haven't been checking in with myself. You know, if we incrementally, continuously check in with ourselves, we don't have to worry about the big overhaul. Like, oh, damn, here goes this mental breakdown. And I have to kind of integrate the past 5 months that I haven't been paying attention to, because I set my value 5 months ago, but then I was just moving. Journaling helps with all that. Intentional relationship building. Like, most importantly, with yourself. And this whole process will help you to develop a relationship with yourself unlike you've ever had. Because now you're getting intentional about what it is that you care about. And then that allows you to put yourself into circumstances that align with who it is that you see yourself as being. Who you see yourself as being will expand and grow and develop. Like I said, there was a time and place where I wouldn't have even sent the inquiry to that apartment. Like, nah, that's out my lead, that's out my reach. But no, it's fucking not. I'm fucking rich, and that is my reality. When I made that call, my man told me like, not yet, big dog. And it was like, okay, yeah, all right, back to the drawing board. So you say I need to have this much, I need to be making this much a month. Okay, all right, cool. Because I am that person. I wouldn't know that if it wasn't for these incremental, consistent check-ins with myself that allow for me to build an intentional relationship with myself. And this whole process of building this relationship with myself equips me to be able to build relationships with other people in a way that is healthy and whole, and not in a way that's codependent, and in a way that depends on somebody else to give me the keys to my own success. Because I've done a lot of fucking work. Before I come to you, before we even have a conversation, there's a lot of answers that I've answered for myself. That's the best type of relationship with the best type of person I would ever want to build with, is somebody who has done this intentional work on themselves consistently. Intentional relationship building. You know what? Don't make work out of this. This sounds like a lot, but the whole point of this is to be fucking fun. Like you watch football, and I'm not a super sports guy, so please excuse these sports analogies. I might fuck up some parts of these sports, but you watch, people on a baseball field, or people on a football field, or people on a soccer field, and you watch their faces, and they it doesn't look like they really having fun, but they tapped in. This is what they chose to do. And they're going to go through this pain. They're going to go through this struggle. They're going to go through this frustration to make what happens happen on the field, because they've chosen this game to play. And when it comes to adversity, imagine if, a soccer team showed up to play soccer and there wasn't another team. It was just the team, the one team. They run, kick the ball on the goal. Yeah. 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 After a while, it's not even going to be fun no more. This is not even a challenge. I'm not even cultivating any strengths here. I don't even got to run to the goal. I could just boop. It's going in. So, but when you have that other team, it allows for you, which, we can, stick it to the analogy. The other team is the adversity in life, the challenges, the obstacles. Like, now we have to, this, their defenseman does this and this and jukes in this way. So I got to figure out how to spin this way to get this way and make this happen so I can get to the goal. But when I shoot it into the goal, the goalie jumps that way in that direction. So what I'll do is next time I'll come and I'll juke and I'll fake that way. And then you figure out the process. That's the fun fucking part. That's fun. This is fun. We're here to create and develop an increased quality of life. Coming to know ourselves, becoming mindful of our circumstances in the day, journaling around it, getting to know ourselves and our intentions and our values, intentional relationship with building with ourselves, which can lead to the best healthy relationship with other people. Like this can be fun. It's fun and fulfilling to live an aligned life. That's all I got for you today. So before we get out of here, you know the deal. If you have an iPhone, head over to Apple Podcasts and leave me a rating and review. If you got a 5-star tool from this episode or a 5-star nugget from this episode, leave me a 5-star review. That's what I'm saying. It helps people find us, and it helps us to look credible in the eyes of people who may be considering listening to the show but don't necessarily want to press play yet. Once they see them reviews, they see that 5-star and they see like real people like, oh, this has helped me in this way. They click quick. I know I'm a podcast listener, and the first thing I do is go to the reviews. And if I see like a 4-star, oh, he rambles on, or oh, he's not a cool person, I'm like, maybe I don't want to check this out. But if I see that 5-star, I'm gonna press play. And also the hat contest to win one of 5. You feel that with Bryce the Third hats from New Era. These are very high quality trucker hats. It's still going till 11/11/2021. I was thinking about how I set up the entry to this contest. Might be a bit cumbersome. I was saying go over on Apple Podcasts, leave a rating and review, then come to YouTube and in the comments, leave in the comments that you did that. I've been made aware, because some people have reached out, I've been made aware that if you don't have an iPhone, or if you're not on Apple, like you might not be able to go to Apple Podcasts and leave a rating and review. So if you can leave a rating and review and then pop over to YouTube and let me know that you did that, so I can know who to send the hat to when you win, that will be perfect. But if you can't go on to Apple and leave a rating and review, I ain't tripping. Just come to YouTube and leave a comment, and you'll still be entered into the drawing. So if you leave a comment on this episode, you'll be entered into a drawing for one of 5. You feel that with Bryce the Third hats, but that's on the YouTube. And as a matter of fact, let's make this comment regarding the episode. What are some of your value sets? Where is it that you want to go in life? Have you done the investigation to what it is that's important to you? So yeah, now I'm gonna encourage you to begin investigating, because you're gonna need to if you want to win one of these hats, right? So on YouTube, in order to win one of these free hats, you got to go and leave in the comments, what is one value set that you found while looking inside? What is one thing that you have found that you want to do in this life? What is one effect you want to have on the world? I'm telling you, coming face to face with this is going to allow you to have more fun in the process, because you're putting it together. You're playing the game worth playing. Share this podcast with 5 people. I feel like we all know 5 people that could benefit from the tools that we lay down here in this community. Follow me on social media at Bryce the Third everywhere. And this is including TikTok, where, I do be throwing content on there. And before we get out of here, I want to shout out my Patreon patrons, my college mate and Joanne Becker and Erica Walters. Thank you for your contributions. I hope you continue to give more than the value that you're looking for. You are very important to the process of me being able to have fun in my process. Thank you, thank you, thank you from the bottom of my heart. And with that, I'll leave you with this quote from Alfred de Souza. For a long time, it had seemed to me that life was about to begin, real life. But there was always some obstacle in the way, something to be got through first, some unfinished business, time still to be served, a debt to be paid. Then life would begin. At last, it dawned on me that these obstacles were my life. This perspective helped me to see that there is no way to happiness. Happiness is the way. I'll catch you all next time. You feel that? With Bryce The Third.